Hey guys, I'm back again with just a little bit of information there. I was just looking through my laser, my Atmos A5 laser that I picked up the other day has gone to sleep. It's basically died. Horrible, horrible death. I used it on a 2 hour project at 100% on tile, and I finished it up and completed it engraved just the way I wanted it to. I'll show you an inset of that later on. But after that, then it wouldn't even blink using the software. It just wouldn't blink. It wouldn't do an outline. It would do an outline, but it wouldn't actually shine the laser. So yeah, it's very disappointing. I actually got in contact with Atmos, and they sent me off this little video, which I'll obviously have a little inset of that as well to check to see how the laser is. Basically, what you do is you open up the controller, you move the laser from one point to another point, and then you're meant to hold a piece of paper up to see if it ignites, and mine wouldn't even ignite tissue paper, so it's pretty much done and dusted. But they're going to get back to me during the week. I just wanted you to have a little look at this. So this guy has a nice little laser, nice very simple laser, and he talks about oh sure, I'll let you have a listen. He basically talks about how they have a finite lifespan if it's not actually printed on the box. Have a listen.
So I've noticed recently that the power from my laser diode on this inexpensive Vigo has gone way down. I can still etch into wood like this, no problem. So wood, paper, cardboard, stuff like that, great. But I can no longer do tiles. I can no longer do mirrors. I haven't tried, but I'm going to assume I can no longer etch on glasses. I was doing, glass containers. So I started looking around on YouTube and different videos, and a lot of the guys were saying that once they had run their heads at full power, after that they seem to have lost at least 30 to 40% of the power of the unit.
30 to 40% on average? That's wow, that's unbelievable. So what's the take-home message here? Not to run your laser at 100%. It's like going out and buying a nice fancy car, and for the track you want to drive it at full throttle. It's what we do as men. We like to push things. What can they do? What else can they do? What can they do that they weren't designed to do but possibly can do? Realistically, there's no reason for the laser to burn out. There's no moving parts in it. Once it's adequately cooled, it should be good to go. And think about it this way, like a processor for a computer. Standard cooling, stock cooling, you'll only get so much. If you want to start overclocking it, as in bring it out of the manufacturer's specifications, well, then you're going to have to increase the cooling. So change from air cooling to water cooling, or a nice thermal block and something else. You can do it, and they will last. They just won't last as long because they are getting hotter. But lasers, from 0 to 100%, it should be good to go at 100% all day long. There should be adequate cooling for it to work all day long at that. Now, he's obviously come across the same issue that I have, except his is actually still lighting up and making etches. Mine, as I said, isn't even lighting up to send a blink. Now, the Chinese people got back in contact with me, ATOMSTACK, and they sent me a video, actually, a nice little video. And I basically had to open up the controller on the back of it and move one of the little cables. It's a cable with just one single cable on it, from the far right to the far left, which turns the laser on and keeps it consistently on. So I'm sure it's probably the firing pin. And basically then you hold up a piece of tissue or a piece of paper, and that's basically what they want. So it's not good. But it goes back to what I said in the other video. Cheap Chinese stuff. Now you'd imagine that Atmos would be branded. ATOMSTACK will be a branded unit. So you'd imagine you'd get longer than a few hours before it died. But however, see what else this guy says.
Started looking into the lifetime of these things. Well, what's the rated lifetime and that sort of thing. And I was very surprised to find that unless the seller of the unit, in the case of this is the Vigo, unless they're boasting and printing what the hours are on the laser head, you probably have a cheap laser head and it's only going to be good for 10 to 20 hours. Now, the difference in how many hours it's going to be good for is going to be on how hard you hit it. If you're running...
Now, just put that into perspective. If I did a 2-hour engraving onto a tiny little tile, like a 5x4 tile or a 6x4 tile, they're square, so it's either 5x5 or 4x4 tile. It's not a long time. It's 2 hours, and if you only do 5 of them, it days you 10 hours. Goodbye and God bless, because you've used your laser at 100%. So, is it linear? So, like, if you use it at 90%, will you get like 1.5% more, or 10% more, 15% more, 50% more? What way does it work? I don't know. I don't have those answers. I need to do some more testing. I just know that the way it is now, it's just ridiculous that it's dead. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy at all. I like products that work. I also like products that do exactly what they're meant to do, what they're labeled to do. I don't like the instructions to say it's a 20 watt laser when it's clearly stamped on it 5 watt. And also on the actual bed itself, the laser bed, it says 4 to 4.5 watt. Like, how the hell? If the manufacturer is giving you 3 different wattages for the unit, something wrong there. Now, let's go to endurance lasers for a second, right? On endurance lasers, they say their units can operate up to 72, maybe 80 hours continuously. I got 2 hours out of a cheap Chinese laser. Doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. Let's continue on.
Low lasing optical powers, like, 40% or less, it'd probably last a long time, probably longer than 20 hours. But if you're hitting it hard, apparently it goes really quick. And just the other day, well, it was before Christmas, the wife wanted some wood things cut, and I went, okay, let's try cutting all the way through some wood. And I had some 3mm thick basswood, and I set it up, and it cut the object you wanted. I had to go down to 100 millimeters per minute and run it at 100% power. And this is the 5 watt. They sell it as a 20 watt laser head, which means you got 5 watts of actual optical power. And it burned through the basswood in some places in one pass. So I had to do 2 passes to get it to burn 100% through the whole thing and the part to drop out. I was quite surprised.
That goes back to what I was saying. So he's saying they're selling it as a 20 watt, but it's 5 watt optical. Again, I'd love to see that being actually tested, whether it is a 5 watt or maybe it's probably maybe 2.5 to maybe 3.5 watt. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. So if anyone wants to send me one of those fucking laser optical testers, I'll give mine a go. My guy's there's probably more fucking energy off these LED light bulbs around me than there is coming off this laser at the moment. It's ridiculous.
After I'd done those parts, I could no longer do any of the other fun things.
Look, fair play to him. I like people who get up and get on with it and actually are using the stuff. He seems to be enjoying what he's doing, and he's just a bit frustrated now that his laser's gone to sleep on him. It's not doing what it's meant to do. And the stuff that he's printing out wouldn't be in my wheelhouse. But sure, look, each to their own, right?
That we enjoyed doing. So I started looking on YouTube, and like I say, there were guys talking about that. Yeah, once they'd run that full power, it had gone, and then started looking at how many hours they were good for. And it really comes down to, if the company isn't boasting about the hours that are on there, you probably have the cheap head, and it's probably only good for 10 to 20 hours before the power starts going down and down and down. And they don't just die, they just get weaker. It's sort of like, the light that burns twice as bright burns half as long type thing. So I started looking around online and found that the company...
This is a company I want to talk about. There was a very good video that they've done really recently. I'm not sure if it's a 30 watt or if it's a 40 watt or if it's like a crazy 80 watt. But they have this video and it shows it cutting really thick, like maybe 12 mil wood. And when they take the piece out, right, you can clearly see that there's 3 different sections of burn marks. It was also very well edited. It was cleverly edited, and all from fixed cameras. To me, I call BS on it. I just say, there's no way it can go from dark brown, black, nearly to light brown, and then start again in the middle, dark brown or black to light brown and so on 3 times unless that laser was stopped and refocused. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think they did a little bit of magic? We'll have a look and see if we can find it, but let's see what this guy, we'll continue on this. Getting excited.
Neje, that makes a lot of laser heads. Not only do they make a new 20 watt one, which would give you the 5.5 watts of lasing power, but they make a 30 watt one, which gives you 7.5 watts of lasing power. So I decided I'd replace my head with one of these for the following reasons. One, they claim that their laser head is good for about 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours of lasering at what percentage power? Think about it.
Now I realize
I thought about it. I don't know the answer.
Is completely variant on how hard you're hitting and running the thing, but if they're claiming 10,000 versus the 10 to 20 hours on the cheap one, why not? But a lot of them were quite expensive, but they were having a sale at the time that I...
Yeah, the internet's always having a sale. And it's like a lot of these applications you can get on your phone, you know, get healthy, get fit, intermittent fasting, exercise this, exercise that. You download an app, you click on it and you go, I don't want to buy this subscription. Then you'll get an email, hey, special offer just for you. And all of a sudden the subscription that was at $89.99 every 3 months was now down to $59.99 for 3 months. And you go to go buy it, but you don't buy it. And you go, nah, you leave it in the cart or you don't bother. And then later on, hey, special deal for you. Same thing, $29.99. Before you know it, they're nearly giving it to you for free. It's like that with a lot of different websites and applications I've noticed over the years. Now, in fairness, if you've already designed your application or you designed your product, and what's the reason that people won't buy it? Is it that they don't believe in the product or service? Probably not. More than likely, it's to do with money. It's either too expensive or they just don't have the money to buy it. So if they like the product, they'll buy it eventually, or they'll get money to buy it if they really need it. Or if it's something that's available on the black market, they may download it illegally. I wouldn't do a thing like that now, would I? Oh, jeez, no. But I have done. Yes, I have committed the mortal crime of piracy. But thankfully those days are gone, and I don't really have to do that now because I know there's other little ways, such as what I've just mentioned, to click cancel, to click no, and let them keep coming back with offers until, you know, it's something reasonable. Sometimes you can get educational offers, which is cool. For instance, I got Final Cut 10 and compressor and motion for a student edition. When I say it's a student edition, a student price, a discount price for being a student. It was like $250 altogether. Pretty good. Very, very good, actually. So I have that now for life. So yes, I used to run pirate software of those particular units, and it was fine, it was grand. And I said, whenever I have 350 quid or 250 quid, I'll go buy Final Cut, and I think it was $50 or $60 per compressor and motion. So I don't know how I ended up with an offer from Apple Direct for student edition. I think it's because I enrolled as one of their teachers for something, some program and something or other. And yeah, I talked to them and they said, yeah, that's no problem, you can get that. I got it and everything's good. Let's get back to the lasers.
For this 30 watt one at $109. So it's pretty cheap. I went ahead and placed the order for one. The other thing that this $109 one claims to have is air assist. They're claiming that the fan on top, which is temperature controlled by the unit, is also blows air in such a way to keep the smoke and debris away from the lens.
Let's just talk about air assist for a moment. Okay, I think I understand how this works because I think the ATOMSTACK is very similar. So inside of the heatsink, there's tiny little holes. They're in a circular motion, and in behind them, on top of that, then the fan blows down through that and then out, and then there's a little perspex shroud around it, so it blows around where the laser comes out and hopefully gets rid of some of the smoke, but the shroud will actually keep some of the smoke in there. It does an okay job, but it would be better if obviously the perspex wasn't there to blow the air out. Now, what your man just said is very interesting. what he mentioned was that it is temperature controlled, like a PC fan. So if it uses PWM, which is pulse width modulation, it means that fan is going to come on and off really fast. In other words, it's going to be able to adjust its own speed. Now with air assist, you want it on all the time. I'd imagine that's the best way to have it. So you don't really want a temperature control fan. You want it to be on all the time. You want your electronics to be as cold as possible, and you want the path of the laser to be clear and free from smoke, and that would give you the best results. So I don't know. Let's have a listen.
Which of course is going to make your lens last longer. And here are the specs. But you can go to their own website and look it up here.
I don't know about the lens lasting longer as a result. Look at that. Module input 20 to 30 watts. Optical power output 7.5 watts. So 7,500 milliwatts. Wavelength 445 to 450 nanometers. So make sure you've got a set of goggles that will operate under that. So yeah, so your input voltage says 12 volt here. 12 volt 3 amps. So it's 36 watts of power altogether it'll take on the input. Pulse width modulation, I don't know, TTL, I think it's time to live input, I'm not sure. I think that's in relation to how it modulates the laser and turns it on and off. I think it's the 3 or 4 pin connection on the side or on the top of the laser, and that's the input on that is 3.3 volts to 12 volt. Input interference, I don't really know what that is. Seems to be a lot there. Oh, sorry, yeah. So input interface. There you go. So you got your pulse width modulation, which is in relation to your temperature, which will control your fan. 2 pins and 2 pins. That's 4 pins. Temperature interface can be disconnected. Neje provides text instructions for temperature acquisition on Wiki. Oh, that's cool. So what else do we have here? Safe temperature range. Less than 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's no issues. That's good. So the fan will keep it in and around that or below it. I'm really trying to scroll down here with the fucking mouse mat. That's not going to work. I'll click go and see what else it can do. What else can I say it can do? It can engrave MDF, balsa paper, wood, fabric, plastic, leather, plywood, and foam. Oh, imagine doing foam. The smoke off that kill you. Not really kill you, but just be disgusting.
It's just neje.shop, and you'll find it. I'm looking at the 30 watt laser, but here they'll tell you right here that it's 20 to 30 watts on the input side, which gives you 7.5 watts of optical power out. And
now, if I was a manufacturer, I would have that laser connected up input and output, and I would actually show it optically with using one of those little devices. I think that would be the best thing, because I call BS otherwise than that. Like, you're not going to know unless you connect it to one of those things. So why not just have a little video of them showing what the output is really like?
And down here a little bit further, they talk about lifetime of 10,000 to 20,000 hours.
Now, 20,000 hours, again, these are guesstimates. So you're never going to be like there with your stopwatch on each particular job. 10,000 hours is a long time. Hey Siri, how many hours in 20,000?
What would you like to convert into hours?
How many days?
Would you like to convert into hours?
I would like to convert hours into days.
1 hour is 0.042 days.
Okay. Now, come on, Siri. Siri, convert 20,000 hours into days. You big sausage. It says it is 833 days. So 20,000 hours is 833 days. So 365 days in a year. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 and 6 is 7 too. So you're looking at 3 years, more or less. Good to go. 3 years out of that laser at 100. Well, we don't know if it's 100%. It's probably going to be a lot less.
Again, it's going to be depending on how hard you're hitting it. They talk about the wiring, the pin out of it, all that. They also talk about the lens, how the glass lens and most of the inexpensive laser heads Theirs is well, see, the one and the inexpensive ones they're claiming are normally about 85% efficient, and they have a super glass lens in theirs, which is like 99%.
So in the last video about our Chinese cousins and the cheap Chinese lasers, I spoke about the optics and how important it is to have the optics. I spoke in relation to capturing from a normal lens to a photodiode for a camera and how it works in reverse. So the higher optical clarity that you can get through your lens, the better image your laser is going to be able to project on your surface, and the tighter of the convergence that you're going to get. So the higher output you should be able to avail, and hopefully the crispier images or the best cutting or deeper focus. This is all very important. I'll look at this again in future videos, but let's carry on.
What that means, but it sounds better, right? So I've placed the order. Here it is, January 2nd, 2021. Let's see how long it takes for the new head from Neje to get here, or if it even gets here. And I actually ordered mine off the AliExpress site because I didn't know they had their own website, and I would have just ordered it directly from them had I known. But I called it 2-in-1 fixed, and you can adjustable. It also comes with a testing board that you can hook up. So even if you didn't have a complete laser and you were building your own CNC, you can hook it on there.
Very cool.
And run it with a pulse width board. This is a slide mount for focusing, where you can actually slide the entire unit up and down. The unit itself is smaller.
Very cool.
This kind of shows one side of it, the fan. This is a protective red lens, so you can actually look in through this part if you wanted. This is the focusing ring, so this tells you that's the end of the lens right there. They 2-in-1 adjustable, meaning that you can raise and lower the whole head using that special bracket that it comes with it, or you can use the adjustable lens for that. Here they're showing the fan, claiming that it can engrave up to 5 millimeters deep in one pass, cut through plywood that's 3 millimeter in one pass.
Now,
speed
3 mil in one pass at 100 speed, 100 mil per minute is not too bad. It's not bad at all. But that's from their 30 watt laser. Now you see other Chinese people saying, Chinese websites suggesting that their little cheap lasers can do that. I don't know. I'd question it. I'm sure it can do it, like the way that ATOMSTACK A5 can carve tile. But at what price? The price of a new laser, boss. That's what happens. The fucking thing died a horrible death.
100, like I was running. Anyway, it looked really interesting. It didn't seem. They also make a 21.
That's nice. I like the black and red. It looks kind of tasty. It looks like that fan plugs in. Maybe it doesn't. It would be lovely if it plugged into the actual thing, in between the two red rings. But it probably doesn't.
Version, which would give you your 5.5.
Oh. There, look at the size of those lasers. The holder, that actually looks like the one on the left is a holder, but it's not. Okay, Neje laser diode and other laser diodes. So yeah, the laser itself is actually smaller than that. It's tiny, and it's just in that little holder. Look at that, less than 20 hours working life. That's really bad. It's really, really sad. It's sad.
They're kind of showing a difference between their laser diode and normal ones, where they get the 20,000 hour diode versus the 20-hour diode. They talk about that a little bit, but they give full specs and stuff and comparisons between things. So you might actually find it interesting. You might want to do a search on AliExpress or go to their own website for them. And what am I going to say? Oh, well, I'm going to say I've ordered it. Let's see if it gets here. Let's see how long it takes to get here. And once it gets here, is it a direct plug and play, or do I have to do something to get it to work? All these things we want to find out. And if it fixes my problem and gets me back where I'm engraving in tiles and on glass and on mirrors, and
brilliant.
I might even try some of the videos I've been watching recently where they're engraving on stainless steel, like knives and scissors.
I'm interested in that. So that was the last thing after the tile I wanted to get into. I stuck a knife under the laser, and I was like, why is the light so dim? I don't know what was going on. Thought my eyeballs had just adjusted to the bright blue light, but no, au contraire, it just wasn't doing the deal, wasn't doing anything. I figured like if you could feckin' hammer out the tile, it would definitely leave some kind of mark on the stainless steel. But at that stage, the laser's gone to sleep.
Put mustard on there first. Some sort of chemical reaction thing. I don't know if that's a joke or not, but I've seen videos going back over 2
Mustard. Do you know what? People do some strange stuff. Mustard is great when it's attached to a hot dog in a bun.
years claiming you can do it, so it must be real. I'd like to try it. Can't do anything right now because this baby's gone weak. Unless I want to burn paper, cardboard, or just do a little bit of wood. That's about all it'll do anymore. So, there you go. I'll keep you updated.
So yeah, that wasn't a bad little video. It just goes to show you that there's a lot of people out there who have similar problems. It's something that should be addressed. And I think knowing now what I know from having first-hand experiences with these cheaper lasers, I've learned quite a lot. I do believe, in all honesty, that, you know, the old adage of, you know, you pay for what you get does hold true to a certain degree. I could not find fault really in the actual heatsink or fan bar. It's noisy. It looked well designed. I'm just talking about the ATOMSTACK A5. However, I would have likened to see a cooling for the top. Like if they had have used tiny little holes in the acrylic plate that's attached to the circuit board on top, the driver for the laser, it would have probably gotten a bit of airflow around it to keep it cool. The laser itself never got on that 2-hour cut. Didn't get warm. Didn't even get lukewarm. So I was quite surprised that it died. But look, I'm gonna cut this now, and sure, when I have more information, I shall report back to you. So peace and love till the next time.